for itself. So, if for every rupee paid in GST and direct tax, Kerala has got between 80 to 50 paisa. It has kept coming down over the last few years. Now, when, we don't have a problem that more backward states get a bigger share, but don't ignore us at times when we absolutely need resources. You know what happened in Wayanad a few months ago. You had landslides, you had a tragedy. And the previous MP, the current MP, everyone appealed to the central government, declare this as a national tragedy, as a disaster, give funds. In the absence of the central government giving funds, we don't have, because of the GST regime, we don't have other ways of raising money, right? And it took a long time for the government to provide that money. So at times like this, we wonder, why have we been, shortchanged by this government when it comes to GST regime, which we all took part in voluntarily. We also took part, all the states, and we said we're going to get 5 years compensation until 2022 for lost revenue. What happened during COVID? The government, central government, unilaterally cut that. The states are at the front line, facing the COVID crisis head on, and the resources that they need to get from the GST regime, they were denied that. So this government, if you look at the track record, they have continuously bungled the GST. They have countered the contracts that states had, participated in with the central government. And essentially, what they have done is they have treated the states, especially the southern states, as stepchildren, and they have not responded with the kind of support that is required at times of national disaster. Now, what do we do? In the 2024 election manifesto, the Congress party, and again earlier in the 2019 manifesto, I was convener of the National Manifesto Committee at that time, we have come up with ways to reform the GST process. And we are going to reiterate what suggestions we had made. Why? We want to improve the system. We know that the central government likes to copy our ideas. They've already copied our apprenticeship proposal and created this internship program, which may or may not work the way they implement it, but at least they've taken one constructive idea from us and they're implementing it. Well, here's what our ideas were for GST. We want a new regime which is based on a single moderate rate with exceptions for necessities, which will be possibly a zero rate, and a higher rate for luxuries and what we call public bads like cigarettes and alcohol and tobacco and gambling and things like that. We want a simple tax, which will be at a moderate rate, which is what we need. I am sure that a tax rate of 10-11% will be sufficient to be revenue neutral in today's economy, instead of all these complication rates and also the 18 and above for things like health insurance. We would not levy GST on agricultural inputs. Farmers are hurt by this. We need to recreate the GST Council, and we need to make sure that a portion of GST revenues will go to panchayats and municipalities, the third tier of government, which doesn't have direct funding right now. We also want small GST payers to come under the purview of state governments rather than only one central regime. And a lot of shopkeepers, small retail businesses are facing intense competition from these e-commerce platforms. We want to make sure that they are given significant tax relief. There's more, you can look at it in the manifesto, but fundamentally, we are bringing this issue up because this government, under Modi Sarkar, basically keeps claiming record collections. They are not delivering on the design of a simple and transparent tax. They are out there squeezing money out of the poor and the middle class. They are allowing terrible mismanagement and leakages. They're benefiting the capitalist cronies while all of us suffer. While farmers suffer because GST is levied on inputs, people are suffering because health insurance and things which are necessities are taxed at 18%. And we see all this frivolous nonsense about the kind of tax that you have to pay on different types of popcorn. Enough of this popcorn economics. Pay attention to governance. We've got suggestions. At least steal those ideas and improve this. Thank you.
Mr. Gowda, Kerala has been raising this demand for quite some time regarding GST schedules and the board. But they also allege that the Congress MPs from Kerala are not really giving them the support. Instead of taking on the center, they are pointing their fingers to the state government. So how do you think the whole situation could emerge when you say raise the same allegation here and the center's share from GST is not enough for the Kerala state? So how are we going to have a consensus among your two parties here, two friends here?
So I would not accept their argument that we are not supportive of this idea. Karnataka MPs raise this issue all the time, and Kerala, our Congress MPs would also raise these issues because these are matters of the state. These are not related to political parties alone. And therefore, we want more resources to devolve without necessarily hurting those states that are also in need. We're not saying it has to be equal share, but we're saying we need more as well. Don't hurt those states that are doing well, that need to develop even further. So I reject that allegation from the Kerala CPM and basically point out that please reach out to us. We are also still part of a larger alliance in Parliament and at the national level, and let us figure out ways to change the way this government, the central government, deals with this issue when it comes to devolution of taxes to various states, especially Kerala. Any other questions? It's a technical issue, but it's an issue that matters. So please think about getting the message out to the people that what we have today is a pale imitation of what was envisaged, and we need a much better system. We have ideas for improving. We're not only criticizing, and we want this government to do a better job for the sake of the people of India. Thank you very much.
നിയമത്തിനായുള്ള നയങ്ങൾ മോദി സർക്കാർ ആവിഷ്കരിക്കുന്നില്ല. സാധാരണക്കാരെയും കർഷകരെയുമൊക്കെ ദ്രോഹിക്കുന്ന നടപടികളാണ് BJP സർക്കാരിന്റെ ഭാഗത്തുനിന്നുണ്ടാവുന്നത് ഉൾപ്പെടെയുള്ള ആരോപണങ്ങളാണ് മുൻ MPയും AICC വക്താവുമായ രാജീവ് ഗൌഡ ഇപ്പോൾ വ്യക്തമാക്കിയിരിക്കുന്നത്. ഇനി മറ്റു വാർത്തകളിലേക്ക്. നാനാത്വത്തിൽ